I'm Jennifer Wood, and NFL starts and ends. I'm your host, Jacob. And we did a show, and I only ended up going on streaming on YouTube. So we're going to quickly recap what happened on Monday. So keep on Rumble now. So on what happened this weekend, we started on on the Sunday game, excuse me, with the game. I'm going to put it out of there. We started with the Rams Eagles game, and we worked our way backwards for that on Sunday. Excuse me. In the Rams Eagles game, look, I wanted a competitive game, and it was competitive. It was cold, it was snowing, the ball was slippery. We saw that with a couple fumbles there were. But the Eagles came out victorious. Saquon Barkley had 205 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts had a touchdown. It was really impressive. I'm a little concerned for Jalen. He did end up having a knee injury. They got him rolling around in the play action bootlegs, but nothing lateral, nothing lateral down the field. So I do want to see more of that. He's going to get treatment the whole week, and we'll see what happens. They were non-committal after the game on what Jalen Hurts was talking. Oh, in terms of losing. So the Rams, Matt Stafford said that he still has football he wants to play, but he's going to take his time. When you got guys like Kylan Williams, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nakua, Tyler Higbee, when all healthy, they're a very powerful team. The problem is their offensive line is just not very good. Their defense played lights out. They got after the quarterback, Hurts didn't know where it was coming from every time. They had good, I thought they played good at the cornerback position, even though they were a little banged up and harder to run in the snow. But they didn't play well at all. They played really poorly on the offensive line. They were down inside the 20 with like a minute left to go. And they have a false start. They don't complete the first pass or the second pass. And they take the sack on the third down, and they almost take the sack again on the fourth. Because what do you want the defender to do? Or what the defender is just going to run straight up the gap, and Fuller's just standing there. There's nothing you can do. And Stafford was a little banged up early in the game. He had hurt his ribs, so he wasn't really going to run. It's just not a good enough performance from the Rams. Fumbled again in the biggest time. That was issue. But they almost fought back. It's just, that's the key word. Almost, not did. Moving on to the Ravens Bills game. This game, I was listening to the TV even just yesterday. I was on my phone. I was watching TV. I was doing all these things. And I just kept talking about how it was Lamar Jackson's fault. Lamar Jackson was at for what happened. And it's definitely part of why Lamar Jackson was at fault. He turned the ball over, interception, fumble, did not do it well enough. The issue definitely wasn't just that. They were showing the stats. I was watching Get Up, which I occasionally, when they showed Lamar in the first quarter and the second quarter, his production on the ground. In the third quarter and the fourth quarter on the ground. He had, I think, 8 yards in the fourth quarter on the ground. They didn't do much. He played perfect football in the second half. You can't turn the ball over inaccessibly. I also want to talk about they only handed the ball to Derrick Henry 16 times. Why would you bring in Derrick Henry if you only handed the ball 16 times? And on those two-point conversions that you tried to attempt, you didn't run the ball with him. He was on the field. You just handing the ball. Or you didn't let Lamar run the ball. Like that, I didn't understand. Let's go into how we got to that. They're down 18. They need the 2-point conversion. They go down the field. They score a touchdown. 2-point conversion time. You think to hand it to Derrick Henry or Lamar would keep it or something. And they didn't do that. They said, Lamar, let's run a bootleg. And then it's going to just run simple flat defense that's completely parallel to the line of scrimmage. Everyone else, my receivers, are going to block. So Lamar's just going to roll out, simply just pass it to Mark Andrews. He's just going to fall into the end zone. That's all he's doing. Because they're hoping the traffic affects the other defender. That's what they're hoping. And Lamar does just toss it to him. But because the ball is slippery because it's went because of the snow, Mark Andrews can't hold on and he doesn't catch the ball. He had a couple drops in that game as well, including a key fumble. Those are things that are going to haunt Ravens Nation for a long time. It really will. Because Lamar played a perfect second half. That's just what happened. I think we also need to talk about, I do admire that the Ravens stood by their players. I do admire that the Bills fans actually raised money for Mark Andrews' charity after he was getting hit against him. So I do admire that as well. But it just couldn't happen. And I don't understand why they chose not to run Henry or Jack in that situation. That's all. It was a nice play call. Just didn't work. The execution was. Just moving into Saturday, we're going to start with the Texans Chiefs game. Actually, no, we're going to start with the Commanders Lions game. We're going to talk a little bit more Commanders, and we're going to talk Commanders and Lions more in the news portion. But this game was a surprising upset. If you recall, I took the Lions to win in a shootout. It was a shootout. The team that I chose didn't win. Commanders won 45-31. Actually, the Bills had beat the Ravens 25. So the Commanders beat the Lions 45-31. I'm sorry. This game was odd. A lot of trick plays. A lot of points in the second half. A lot of more points in the second quarter. They had 42 points in the second quarter scored. The highest in any game in NFL history. In the second quarter. That's absurd. Third quarter, fourth quarter, they did a great job. I thought Terry McLaurin played great in this game. The Browns game was good. I thought Jaden Daniels played really well. I thought the offensive line played extremely well. The Emmett Brown played his best game ever. Lions defense was just so tired, so banged up, and so injured. I was looking at this. They had 13 or 15 guys on the IR. And 11 of them were defensive players. 13 of them were defensive players. It was absurd. When you're playing Al-Quadin Muhammad, who couldn't make the Cowboy roster with all their injuries, and you brought in Zadarius Smith because you had all these injuries at defensive back. You traded for him. That's an issue. They made it work. It just didn't work here. The injuries, and misplays by Goff, I think he threw sort of 4 interceptions. Just didn't play well. They ran the receiver pass that ended up being an interception. That didn't help. I mean, Mike Taylor still, who's a rookie, had 2 interceptions in him. He's a good player. And he had 2 interceptions this game. I didn't think they ran the ball enough to Gibbs or Montgomery. The Commanders had a hard time with them, and they just stopped doing it entirely. So I don't think that. This was also the last game for Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn in Detroit. We will talk about that in a few minutes. Moving on to the Texans Chiefs game. This game was enamoring. 37 million people, 38 million people watched this game. So meaning that this game was watched. The Texans, I thought, played okay. They definitely don't have another receiver that they trust outside of Nico Collins. Nico Collins was getting thrown the ball on every play, and there's just no one else that was able to do the thing. So Schultz, I think, is the second leading receiver. They could run the ball. They just couldn't go fast enough on those runs. Their defense was playing great. I thought because you can't afford offensive letdown in the game. It's a team. The Chiefs played well. They forced plays against the crowd. They did do a lot of great things defensively. Travis Kelce had a great game in the playoffs. What else is there? I do want to admit that this is the elephant in the room. 2 penalties for the elephant in the room. I was listening to Walt Anderson, who was on NFL Network after the game, saying that they were technically the right call. But what the NFL should do is 15-yard penalties should be reviewed, even if it makes the game a little longer. Wouldn't you rather have the game right and longer than shorter and incorrect? Mike Pereira went and said that there was nothing wrong. There was no favoritism, which I completely disagree. I have family members texting me, tweeting at me, sending me memes of conflict of teaching the officials. And at nausea, you can't deny these penalties. The worst one I think of the two was the Will Anderson hitting Mahomes. What do you want the defender to do? And because I'll explain what happened. If you throw it down, you have to get this, but inside their own territory. Will Anderson sets a block and it comes right down Broadway, essentially, and going to hit Mahomes. He's up like this. He's standing straight up, and he runs right at Mahomes. And Mahomes throws it and misses Kelsey over the net. We're not on the same. The flag is dead. Roughing the pass. Now, if you look at the play, you say, yeah, the helmet of Will Anderson hits the helmet of Patrick Mahomes. You can't hit him in the head or the chin. I agree. Here's the reason I don't agree. The majority of the helmet of Will Anderson hits Mahomes in the chest. It was not like I'm trying to hit Mahomes in the head. It was I'm trying to 90%, 95% of my helmet in its chest. And the only way I could have taken 100% helmet to his chest would have been if I had bent my neck entirely and tried to squarely in the chest, which I could have hurt myself, or squatted down to try and hit it. And still you would have been. It was tough. And then I would have landed. There's nothing I could have done. This was the only way to do it. And they called it. That was the more severe, I think. Not because it was that much more, just because he actually did hit it. The second one, and I actually have an idea. I'll propose this after this. Mahomes is outside the pocket. I don't know who is blocking. I don't think it was Kelsey, but I'm not 100% sure. And Mahomes starts doing his thing when he starts like, playing chicken with the defense. And he can either go left or right. He chose to go left. And by doing so, there's 2 Texans players right there. They're within inside 3 yards, which is important. Mahomes knows he's going to get hit, drops down immediately. But they're already launched before he drops down. They barely make his helmet, and they hit each other. They probably did more damage to each other than to Mahomes. They threw the flag, giving him a free 15. So, 2 free 15 calls is pivotal points for the game. To the point that D'Amico Ryan says it's us versus everybody. To what Joe Mixon said, if you play football here, you have to expect it. These players set up with that. It happens every time. There's a close game against the Chiefs. There's going to be a call like that. There was a potential for a call that they didn't throw. Mahomes is running near the sideline. He's going to gain like 1 or 2 yards. And there's a Texans player right there. There's 2 Texans players. They can either push Mahomes out of bounds, in which they might get a 15-yard penalty for unnecessary roughness, or they don't push him out of bounds and allow him to try to go around them and pick up a bigger gain or a touchdown. So they decided to push him. Now, why did I say it? I said Mahomes was going out of bounds because he stopped. He stopped running like as if he was in slow motion, waited till the second player hit him, and flopped out of bounds. He's like, oh my God. The official said, I'm not throwing that flag. Number one, he flopped. Number two, he hit you when you were in bounds. I'm not throwing that flag. That's what he did. That's what they did. That's how egregious this is. That's why people are fed up with it. And Troy Aikman is fed up with it. He said they are not. What do you want the defender to do? What do you want him to do? He was fed up with the roughing the passer call. He was fed up with the sliding call because Mahomes slid late, which Tom Brady has said was an issue. And he was fed up with that one, even though there was no call. Because what else is he supposed to do? What's the defender supposed to do? We said this quickly on last week's show. We'll say it again here. Belichick was doing the Manning cast during the wild card game. Stafford is in the midst of getting sacked and then just shovels the ball forward. He can't see where he's going. He just shovels it forward. So technically his arm does go forward. They called it a fumble. The referees did it right. They didn't blow it dead. They sorted it out after. So they called it a fumble. Would have been a tied game for the Vikings. Then they called it a forward pass. Belichick said, yeah, that should not have happened. It's an offensive lead. It should not have happened. Stafford can't see what's happening. He can't see. He's getting sacked. He then just shovels the ball forward. That's not a throw. He can't see where it's going. And it should have been intentional grounding. The ball doesn't even get past the line of scrimmage. But that's not what they cared about. They wanted to say, the forward pass. So therefore it's second down. That's not what should happen in that situation. So those are two bad calls. But I do agree with Belichick. It's an offensive lead. Defense has a very difficult time. When Troy Aikman saying, yeah, that's wrong. And this is where my proposal for what happened on the second. If a quarterback passes the line of scrimmage, we put this in the rule. Quarterback passes the line of scrimmage. He has a 3-yard box. 3 yards in front of him, 3 yards on the left side, 3 yards on the right side, 3 yards behind. If a defender gets inside those 3 yards and the quarterback has not slid yet and then drops down, whether the defender's inside that box, as long as the defender does not hit him like a torpedo directly into the face, directly in between the eyes, it is not a penalty. It is not a penalty. Because you're supposed to protect yourself, not the defender. You have to protect yourself. If you don't slide down, and he's within inside 3 yards, and he doesn't hit you between the eyes, no penalty. He hits you in the shoulder, he hits you in the chest, he might even kind of hit you in the head a little bit. As long as he doesn't hit you between the eyes, on top of the dome, you're good. No penalty. Because it's on the quarterback. If he doesn't want to get hit, slide over. Because then, if he launches and he's outside of the 3 yards, you will throw the flag. Because you did protect him. But if he's inside the 3 yard perimeter, the quarterback does not slide yet. He, no matter where he gets hit, if he's trying to slide or not, we will not protect him unless he gets drilled directly between the eyes. That's it. I think it's a smart thing to do. Because it's ridiculous to give these quarterbacks that much leeway. It's ruining the game. It really is. All right. Let's talk what happened on Monday. So Monday afternoon, I get a notification. Ben Johnson is keeping the Chicago Bears coaching job. We said on Monday that after the Ben Johnson get with the Detroit Lions loss, don't put that against them. Don't say, okay, yeah, I can't have a head coaching job. Because that doesn't mean anything. Ben Johnson, the whole year was creative and it was working. It even worked in that game against Commanders. It's just not done at the right time with the receivers. It's too close to the game they couldn't have done. It didn't take him away from being a head coach. He took the Bears job, which I said this, that's the best job. 6 of the time, that was the best job because you had a quarterback, a young quarterback, who was creative and innovative and can make things happen. You have a good receiving core in DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and Roman Duzier. You have a great running back in DeAndre Swift. You have a really good talented defense. Maybe the secondary needs a little work and the offensive line needs a little work. But other than that, you have a really good special teams unit as well. You're a really talented team. You just need to fix a little bit in your secondary and a little bit on your offensive line, and you'll be good. It's a built team, so it's a great place to go for a head coach. And Ben Johnson was the best coach. Probably not no chance. Bears got them in. They interviewed 20 plus guys. They were doing something they haven't done, and they got it right. Now they got to show it the next time they play, which is in 2020, 2025 regular season. They got to show it. They got to show it. It starts in camp, and that's got to be the positive. Positive reinforcement. Another guy who got hired for a head coaching job just this morning was Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn took the New York Jets job. He took that job. Look at the talent. Look at the talented roster. Aaron Rodgers, Devon Adams, Lee Hall, Braylon Allen, a talented off line, so much experience. Alan Lazard, Garrett Wilson, defensively are very talented. CJ Mosley, Quincy Williams. There's a lot of people on a team. They just underperform immensely. And also within the soccer, Aaron Glenn has coaching interviews with teams he played for. He played for the Jets. He played for the Saints. Those are jobs he took. Those are interviews he took because of the efficiency work. So that's all. We took the Jet job. Texans had a good job yesterday, and it just didn't get ironed out until this one. Now there's 4 head coaching positions open. Saints, Raiders, Jaguars, Cowboys. We will talk about the Cowboys in a little bit. The Patriots also hired an offensive coordinator. It is a familiar name to the New England Patriots. It is Josh McDaniels, which is third stint with the Patriots as the OC. Everyone knew this when Vrabel got the job, or was expected to get the job, that Saturday, prior to him getting the job on that Sunday. It was said if Vrabel got the job, expect Josh McDaniels to be the OC, which would be his third stint with the team. That's exactly what happened. He got the job. They interviewed McDaniels yesterday. He got the job. That's them. We think he'll do wonders with Drake May and that. Now, moving to the Cowboys a little bit. So they interviewed Leslie Frazier on Monday. We talked about that interview. To quickly recap, Leslie Frazier was not getting any other interviews. He was being interviewed because the Cowboys need to interview 2 Native American coaches. That's what they have to do. They have to interview 2 coaches outside their organization that are Native American. So they did. And on Tuesday, they announced they were interviewing Brian Schottenheimer, their non-play calling offensive coordinator, which Michael Parsons helped. They had a 4-hour interview, or almost 4 hours, and they're interviewing him again today. Now, I want to make this abundantly clear. Hiring Brian Schottenheimer is not changing a thing. It's not. It is the equivalent of saying we're bringing Mike McCarthy back in. That's it. Schottenheimer has not had a head coaching role in his career. Very decorated as a coach. Been an offensive coordinator. He recently had a head coaching interview was a decade ago, but no one's really interested in him. He hasn't called the plays in 3 years. Last time I called plays was with Seattle. Hang on, I'll be right. With Schottenheimer, like I said, he hasn't had a coaching interview. What, years, actually. He hasn't been interviewed. He's getting interviewed. The reason he was fired from his previous play calling role was when he was with Seattle, which is the last time they called plays, which was 2020. He got fired because after 3-win seasons where they made the playoffs, I think they won 12 games, a 3 straight years, he got fired because he didn't want to be innovative. He didn't want to do the new thing that head coaches do for new play calls to help out the quarterback, help out the team. Sounds very familiar to what Mike McCarthy was doing. It doesn't help the team out. The run game doesn't help the team out, which is what also Brian Johnson was doing in Seattle. I mean, the run game would stay the same, the offense would stay the same, nothing would change. It's just the guy in charge. It's a complete step because the guy's never done this before. I don't think it's actual. I think they're just trying to buy time, but it's dumb for them to do. You're going to do that, interview a Robert Sala again. Bring him back in, see what happens. Bring in a Todd Monk from Baltimore. Bring in a Wes Phillips from Minnesota. Bring in a Brian Flores from Minnesota. What are we waiting for? If you are waiting for Kellen Moore or Cliff Kingsbury to come and get an interview, then interview them. Interview Todd Monk. Get different opinions. Why are we just doing this? It's nonsense. We interviewed 4 guys. We like one guy and we hired that. I don't like that. It's a terrible process. It's a terrible job that you're performing. And I'm like, what about Deion Sanders? Deion Sanders has not interviewed yet. The Cowboys aren't certain he interviewed. That's the reason that they will interview. That's the reason they interviewed Leslie Frazier. Deion would be an actual head coach candidate, but they haven't interviewed. He hasn't set up an interview. That's the frustrating part. There was more publicity than actual. The Cowboys do want to bring in Deion Sanders. What they have to do, they have to call the AD at the athletic department at Boulder, Colorado, and say, hey, we want to interview Deion Sanders. We want to request permission to interview Deion. That's what they do. That's what you'd have to do. So is it all for show? Talk. Until otherwise, most likely. And like I said, Brian Schottenheimer would be a good bet. As much as I don't like the Kellen Moore choice, I'd much rather take Kellen Moore over Brian Schottenheimer. And at least Kellen Moore has called for the last 3 years. Now, we got some breaking news. The Jaguars, who hit them post which is the manager Trent Baalke. Now we said, how does Trent Baalke still have a job? He must have terrible blackmail information on the Chad Khan and his family. By the way, this is a good GM. It's not a good GM. They once had 3 first-round picks that were the number 1 overall pick in the draft. 3 times. They nearly did that. That's not a good coach. It's not good pointers. He's trying to turn away. What took so long? How does he still have a job? Now, the thing that was frustrating with this, all of this, I should say, was they sat there, they did an interview on Zoom. Chad Khan and Trent Baalke were on Zoom, but they were in their offices, and they were answering questions. And one of the questions was like, if a coach goes up to you and says, hey, I want a different GM, would you listen? And Chad Khan said, and he didn't mince words, he said, yeah, the head coach said, I do, but I don't want to work with that GM, and he had good opinions, and listen. He's right there, and he's just having to sit there like this. Wow, Chad Khan is saying the world. And obviously didn't work, and now they have parted ways. Thank God, because I think Jacksonville would have been in if they went another year. Because it was bad. He's not a good GM. He's not good. I don't know how he keeps getting jobs. but he's not a good defense. This is also because like Liam Cohen also getting himself out of running for that job too. I think he wants to go back to Kansas Bay, but also not a good job to have, especially if you don't like the GM. So this is the new, so new. The Raiders hired a GM this morning as well. I'm hiring a former teammate of Tom Brady as new general manager. That's what it said. John, oh, right, right, who was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers assistant general manager. He had been the top candidate of the Raiders in their coaching search. Has a personal history with Tom Brady, who was a teammate with him at Michigan. Hightech also interviewed for the Titans job this offseason. He was the director of player personnel when Tom Brady was signed in 2020. He was an intern with the Detroit Lions. He was 5 seasons with the Eagles. The new general manager, Tom Hackler, he became Brown's director of college scouting in 2010. He was a national scout with the Broncos in 2015 before landing with the Bucs. The Lions lose another coach. Lions lose another coach member from their staff this week. They've lost Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn. Their defensive line coach Darrell Williams is leaving Detroit. They're under Mike Vrabel's defensive coordinator. Williams and Vrabel have a history and worked together with the Titans for the length of time from 2018 to 2023. He was the defensive line coach. Also added the assistant head coaching title to him in 2023. Williams has been coaching defensive line since 1998. So this is not like, okay, this guy has never coached. No, he coached. He came back to Vrabel and he has experience. It all worked out. Now, let's get into the previews real quickly, in which we have two previews. We have championship game, the NFC championship game. Let's go to the NFC championship game first. Commanders at Eagles, 47.5 is the over under, -6. That's a little high for me. You know what I mean? I'm actually going to pick the Commanders one. Because last time these two teams played, that's what happened. I know Kenny Pickett played. I understand. Jalen Hurts not being able to run is concerning to me. And Jalen Hurts hasn't played great with his arm. I want to see if he can actually throw. AJ Brown last week has 2 catches. He hasn't done anything. I'm expecting a heavy dose of Saquon Barkley, and I'm expecting Washington to be able to hold on and win this game. And I think they will win this game. Strange, odd game that we will have. 34-31 is the score. And last game, 12 at Chiefs. Chiefs is by 2. 47.5 is the over under. This is going to be a game. It's going to be fun to watch. This is what you brought Von Miller for. This is what you brought all these guys in for. It's to beat the Chiefs. You beat them once this year. Can you do it again in Arrowhead? I think the answer is yes, because I think James Cook in that ground game will beat the brakes off Chiefs in their run defense. I also don't know how healthy Chris Jones is. Cass kind of re-aggravated a little bit on him. He was having to get massaged out a few times. So you need the Bills if they win this game. Just because I think the Bills also have more than one receiver that the Chiefs have to worry about. So you need the Bills to win and finally put this 3-2 to rest. Bills win 28-24. And that is it for NFL World. Let me know in the comment section who you have winning this week. And also, what is the upset this week? NFL World. I'm David.